Everybody, it's Grant, and today we are going to be reacting to see how Mark Cuban, one of the absolute biggest, baddest billionaires on the planet, spends $4.2 billion. I'm not sure, unless he's buying a sports team, how this is going to happen or what time frame they're talking about, but I am extremely interested. I hope you are as well. So let's get into this video.
And the award for the largest ever online purchase goes to Mark Cuban. The businessman, investor, and Dallas Mavericks owner is one of the wealthiest people in America. Scratch that, one of the richest people on the whole darn planet. With a net worth of $4.1 billion, he can buy what he wants, when he wants. And that goes for everything from French chateaus to private jets, Vegas mega parties, and sleek supercars. These days, the incredibly successful entrepreneur has more money than any one person could spend. But getting to this point wasn't easy. So, how did the billionaire rise through the ranks, and how does he splash his cash?
I'm excited about this. You're going to get not only a tutorial in this video, but actually some spending. So, whew. I think the spending's going to be stressful, but Mark's really smart. He's very talented, and he's very familiar with what he needs to do. He's appeared on shows like Ridiculousness, and he's actually a big-time fella on Shark Tank. I'm telling you, he is just sharp as they come, and I'm excited to see the rest of this video.
Let's find out. Before we dive headfirst in the Cuban
His energy,
world of fame
always.
and fortune, let's take a step back. How did the Pennsylvania-born tech and business mogul go from zero to hero? How did he transition from selling garbage bags door to door at the age of 12 to owning an entire basketball team and an enormous business empire? Before making it big, Cuban had to scramble. He chose to study at Indiana's Kelley School of Business without even visiting the campus. Why? Because it was the cheapest. He lived on mac and cheese and had multiple roommates. Why? To save money. From that point, it was a long, arduous road to the top, that's for sure. But the great man puts his success down to one thing: hard work. He went 7 years without a vacation. He stayed up late eating bucketfuls of chicken wings and teaching himself how to code. Mark regularly describes himself as a grinder and go-getter. And with a history of establishing successful businesses like HDNet, Broadcast.com, and Micro Solution, he's clearly done something right. It was the latter which proved to be the business spark Cuban needed to hit the ground running. Micro Solution quickly grew to more than $30 million in revenue, and in 1990, Cuban sold it for $6 million, raking in approximately $2 million after taxes for himself. 9 years later, the millionaire would become a billionaire when he and his co-founders sold the Broadcast.com venture to Yahoo for $5.7 billion worth of stock. The timing was perfect. Cuban cashed in his Yahoo shares when the company was sitting at an all-time high, reportedly, for over $1 billion. Less than a year later, the dot-com bubble burst and Yahoo's stock price crashed to all-time lows. But Cuban didn't care. He'd been fortunate and strategic enough to cash in early. Now, with $1 billion check in his hands, the world was his oyster. Think about it. What's the very first thing you do if you just cashed in on $1 billion?
If that's my first billion, not even a question. I would take that billion and turn it into 2 or 3 billion. Tillman Fertitta is one of the most aggressive billionaires you'll ever see, whether you love him or hate him, right? Tillman's a very, very strict and stern man. He's actually one of my friends. I finally got him to quit calling me the car guy, and then now he actually calls me by my first name. Me and one of his very high-end executives, Jerry Pratt, is actually a very good friend of mine and drinking buddy. But anyway, Tillman makes money. When he first bought the Golden Nugget down here in Lake Charles, Louisiana, he was only worth $1.5 billion. Now, he's worth over $5 billion. He owns the Rockets, and this shutdown has not helped him. It has proven that he is a very aggressive billionaire. But, telling you, Tillman mentality right there, I would invest the heck out of it.
Buy a house, a car, sure, all of those things. But if you're Mark Cuban, you do so after celebrating a little. The very first thing that Cuban did was round up some of his drinking buddies and fly to none other than Sin City, Las Vegas. As he told the New York Times, quote, "We just drank ourselves into a stupor," end quote. They were partying like no tomorrow. Once the hangover had worn off, Mark jetted off on a luxury vacation to the Bahamas with his then girlfriend and now wife of 18 years, Tiffany Stewart. Post-vacation and post-Vegas, the first big purchase came in the form of a snazzy piece of real estate. At the end of 1999, Cuban spent a whopping $13 million, that's the equivalent of about $20 million by today's standards, on this absolutely stunning 24,000 square foot French...
Now that's a house. Wow. I'd take the part in the back. That's all I need. Just put me, or no, look at this thing. Yeah, give me the guest mansion. I'll take the guest mansion, be fine.
...style mansion. While some of the world's billionaires buy on a whim and sell when boredom sets in, Mark and his family have continued to live in this home since they bought it. The glorious property sits right here in the money-laden Preston Hollow neighborhood of Dallas. The Texas house, nay, palace, features 10 beautiful bedrooms and 16 bathrooms, decked out with all the gizmos and gadgets you could ever need. Plus, there's a spa, a huge pool, a wine cellar, and a tennis court. All up, it sits on 7 acres of land with a backyard almost big enough to have its own zip code. While the Dallas pad is Mark's most notable property, it's far from his only one. In December of 2018, the tech entrepreneur shelled out a sizzling $19 million for this expansive mansion in Laguna Beach, California. Totaling 7,867 square feet, the home sports 6 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms, all of which are decked out with bold artwork and bright paint jobs. The Pacific Ocean views from the infinity pool are truly spectacular, as are the tech features scattered around every corner of the property. Back in 2006, Mark bought yet another place. This glass warehouse overlooking the Allegheny River in downtown Pittsburgh. He paid $6.85 million for the 168,000 square foot property on Fort Duquesne Boulevard, but decided to offload the 9-story building over a decade later after it sat vacant for years. The glass warehouse certainly wasn't Cuban's wisest purchase. Fortunately, he's got enough cash in the bank for it to not really matter. Yet, if you were to ask the Shark Tank star about his single dumbest purchase to date, this is what he'd tell you. The dumbest? Let's see. If I could remember them, I could list you a couple hundred bar tabs with my buddies. On the flip side, he's more than happy to gloat about his smartest purchase. Any guesses? We'll give you a hint. At $40 million, it sets the record for the most expensive e-commerce purchase in history. In the great man's own words, a plane. It is obviously brutally expensive, but time is the one asset we simply don't own. It saves me hours and hours. The plane in question is the ultra-expensive Gulfstream V business jet. To this day, that 1999 purchase holds the Guinness Book of World Records title for the largest ever single e-commerce transaction. Believe it or not, Cuban hadn't even seen the plane in person before sending over the money. He simply researched Gulfstream's website and then arranged the purchase via email. However, considering he's regularly declared that buying a private jet was his all-time goal, it wasn't easy to...
Look, I understand that $40 million to him is like 400,000 maybe, 40,000 the average. Yeah. I don't know. But like, dear Gulfstream, I'll take it. Wire transfer incoming now. 40 million. I'll add another couple million for taxes.
If Mark Cuban values one asset more than all others, it's time and having access to a private jet. Despite the hundreds of thousands of dollars of yearly fuel and staff costs, saves truckloads of time. He uses it to travel around the entirety of the U.S. for business, as well as a few international vacations with the family here and there. Just a few weeks after buying that time-saving, money-burning jet, Cuban made an even bigger purchase, his most famous to date, the Dallas Mavericks NBA team. When he signed on the dotted line back in January of 2000, he paid just $285 million for the majority stake. Since then, the squad has gone on to win an NBA championship in 2011, which has skyrocketed their value up to nearly $2.3 billion. That's a pretty darn good investment if you ask us. Although Mark never actually thought of it that way. To him, it was a passion purchase. He simply loved basketball, was a huge Mavericks fan, and was admittedly blessed to be able to afford a position to contribute. As the years have passed, the Mavericks' expenses under Cuban have increased. He's been fined a crazy 13 times for critical statements about the league and its referees, forced to pay around $1.6 million in sanctions as a result. On top of that, he spent $36 million to buy the team a Boeing 757 jet. plus millions more to upgrade the arena's jumbotron and locker rooms. Basketball isn't his only sport. Cuban's also expressed interest in buying multiple Major League Baseball teams, but hasn't pulled the trigger just yet. Why not? Because as a business magnate, Mark's got a heck of a lot on his plate already. The inventor has spent millions of dollars creating and running his long list of companies. That list notably includes his media production house, 2929 Entertainment, which was founded back in 2003 alongside fellow billionaire entrepreneur Todd Wagner. The production company has released films like George Clooney's Good Night and Good Luck and Steven Soderbergh's The Girlfriend Experience, just to name a couple. Outside of the film and TV industry, Cuban holds an eye-popping $1 billion worth of Amazon stock, as well as stakes in hundreds of emerging, lesser-known companies, thanks to his fascinating Shark Tank investments. As we've mentioned, Mark wasn't born into royalty or fed with a silver spoon. He's worked hard to achieve his success, and his contrasting car collection is proof of exactly that. In his youth, Cuban cruised around the streets in a rickety 1966 Buick LeSabre, which cost less than $200, and thereafter, a Fiat X19 that had a hole in the floorboard. His modern-day garage is chock full of supercars and luxury wheels, highlighted by the $1.5 million Mercedes-Benz S600 Pullman Guard limousine, which is typically his preferred car for the daily commute. For optionality, however, there's also the ultra-rare vintage 1955 Ford Custom Line. If he's bored of the roads, he could always opt to take a few days to chill out on the Fountainhead.
I like boats. Speaking of Tillman, did you see that? I'm gonna put a photo. It's out there of his new boat. I think it's going through like a canal or something, and it's almost too big for the canal. It's crazy. All these billionaires and their toys.
Stunning 288-foot yacht. While Cuban doesn't technically own this beautiful piece of marine machinery, he has been spotted sailing on it before. The $130 million boat actually belongs to billionaire and Sears CEO Eddie Lampert, who likes to tell people that Cuban is the real owner. Either way, when Mark's on board, he's living the life of luxury. Although Mark is typically intense, upfront, and driven, he still holds a reputation for being incredibly kind and selfless. Traditionally, his money is used for investment purposes, supporting everyone from local bakers to upcoming tech geniuses on Shark Tank. But he's also renowned for his charity contributions. In June of 2015, Cuban made a $5 million donation to Indiana University at Bloomington, which went toward building the Mark Cuban Center for Sports Media and Technology. Following tumultuous allegations of league-wide misconduct in the NBA, Mark wanted to make a positive change, so he pledged to donate $10 million to organizations that promoted women in leadership roles and combated domestic violence. Then,
the best man for the job is a woman. Our top salespeople at the store, you guessed it, women. Sylvia Mallet, if you ever watch my videos, I love you. You're an amazing individual and you're a rock star. Sylvia tell you that she used to work on my finance team and we were rock stars, and Sylvia would get the contest money that I would give away on top of what the company would give away, and she bought watches and all kinds of stuff with it. Love you, Sylvia.
Here in 2020, alongside basketballers Luka Doncic and Dwight Powell, Cuban contributed $500,000 to the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center and Parkland Hospital. Throw in donations to Autism Speaks, Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, and the Elton John AIDS Foundation, and it's clear that he's putting his money, or at least a great chunk of it, to good use. Okay, so we've got private planes, selfless donations, sports teams, and luxury cars. But when Mark was asked to choose the single best thing about being so unfathomably rich, here's what he had to say. Being able to do what I well please. Cheers to that, Mark. Cheers to that. What is the first thing you would do if you woke up tomorrow as a billionaire? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to The Richest, and have a great day. Catch you.
What would I do tomorrow if I was a billionaire? If I was a billionaire, like, for realsies, I'm pretty sure I would relax for about a month or two. Yeah. No more than 2 months. And I would still do real estate because that does not take me a whole lot of time. I would do real estate. I would pay off all my debts, or at least all my commercial debts. Probably not my 30-year mortgages. I'd probably keep those because I just think that's smart. And then I would, after 2 months, I would I'd just probably invest more. I don't know what $1 billion, oh goodness. That would be awesome. Making like, if you're a billionaire, I mean, we're talking, you're gonna make over 60, 70 million dollars a month in interest. I don't know what to say to that. Anyway, I don't know exactly what I would do, but I know I would invest it. I would be buying shopping centers. I would turn over my stuff to a property manager because I would no longer be handling my rental properties. And I would relax. I wouldn't quit my job at the dealership. I'd go crazy. I'd be bored. What am I gonna do? That's it for the video, guys. If you enjoy videos like this, please power up the like button as well as hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Also, please comment anything you'd like to see in future videos and anything you liked at this video. Also comment what you would do if you woke up tomorrow as a billionaire. I would love to know what you would do, and it proves to me that you have actually watched to this point in the video. I hope you have a fantastic afternoon, and I promise you that I 100% believe in you, and I know you can do anything that you set your mind to and never let anyone tell you any differently. Have a fantastic afternoon, and I will see you on the next one.